Oh yeah.
I apologize.
My daughter.
Yeah.
loved it.
Cool. Awesome.
Hey, you can
I totally messed up.
You're good. Did you delete everybody?
No, I was doing this instead of, it wasn't on that.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like way over.
Yeah, I don't even know how to get back. Let's just do this. But keep your phone out. Keep your phone out and quit. 910 47 when you get a chance. This will be it, then we're gonna get started. 476 8377 and then text me.
Okay.
Text me your name. Sweet!
Cool, man.
Okay. Well, take it
Take it
away.
away.
Yes.
Cool. So my name is Chris Jones. I'm the founder of Guerrilla Realty. We're a software company first and foremost, but we do a ton of training on, somebody said, unconventional ways to generate leads. Was that you? What's your name?
Katie.
Katie. I'm going to try to learn some of the people's names while we do this. The training I'm doing today is how to build a lead gen machine. So lead gen machine would be something that generates leads on a consistent basis, like every day. Everyone has a lead number. Everyone in this room, your lead number is probably different from the person to your right or your left. But we're actually I'm going to show you a formula you can use to figure it out. And then I'm going to show, by the end of this training, you should know exactly what to do over the next 6 weeks to hit that lead number, okay? So the handout, everyone got a handout?
Who didn't get a handout?
How's it going? You can grab a handout right up there up front.
Right here.
So thanks everyone for coming. Ruben and I actually just hooked up like 2 months ago, I think we first met.
Yeah.
Yeah, late night.
Yep.
He was
A lot of beers.
He was on Tinder.
I gave him a free T-shirt.
I was lonely.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. So we hooked up like 2 months ago, and we see eye to eye on a lot of things. Things like planning your business, ways to generate leads, delivering value for free, things like that. And so we decided it'd be cool to do a live training. So this training is originally designed for online. In fact, anybody a member of the Next Level Agents Facebook group, real estate agent group?
So write that down, right?
Nobody?
Oh, you're
So-
good. You're good.
It says anybody a member of any real estate Facebook group or realtor Facebook group. Cool. So like, what's your favorite realtor Facebook group? Just curious. You can't remember what it's called? So maybe it is Next Level Agents. So there's actually, I would say that there's 5, 6, maybe like awesome realtor groups. If you're not a part of any realtor groups on Facebook, I think Ruben would tell you this. Some of them are absolutely awesome. Anyway, Next Level Agents is like, I think 30,000 members, something like that.
A lot.
And if you guys love this training so much today that you want to repeat it tomorrow, we're actually doing a live, like online, where you can watch on your computer. We're doing it tomorrow at 4 p.m. And we'll probably have you and 100, 150 other agents on that training. So this training is originally designed for online, but we put together a little handout so that you guys can follow along. This is not like a goofy slide presentation in front of you. This is actually something useful. So if you have a pen, you can pull it out. I'm going to have you write down some numbers while we go through this training. And the formula at the bottom looks complicated, but I'm going to give you a tool that makes it even easier. So we're just going to jump into it. So again, my name is Chris Jones. I'm with Guerrilla Realty. It's a real estate software company based right here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I've been in and around the real estate business in Fayetteville for 15 years now. I'm 34, and 2 years ago, basically started this software company, and we make awesome lead generation tools. But this training is not a sales pitch for those tools. You don't need them to do what we're talking about in this training, okay? So I like to break this training into 3 lessons. Number 1 is finding your lead number, which I alluded to just a minute ago. Everybody in this room has a lead number. This would be the number of leads that you need to generate on an annual basis to hit your income goals. Everyone has one. Most people don't know what it is, so we're going to figure out what it is today. Lesson number 2 is 3 things you can do today, and I'm not exaggerating. Things you can do this afternoon, right? So when you break from this training, these are crunchy, actionable things that you can go out and do today. It takes about 45 minutes, maybe 2 hours tops, to start generating 100 leads over the next 6 weeks, okay? And I can pretty much guarantee if you were to do them that you get a closing in the next 30 to 60 days, all right? And then lesson number 3 is how to take everything that we learned in lesson number 2 and turn it into a lead machine that runs on autopilot. So works even when you're not thinking about it. And that's enough intro for me. We're just going to jump into it. So lesson number 1 is finding your lead number. And there's a downloadable resource at guerrillarealty.com/lead number that basically takes the formula at the bottom of this page and does all the hard work for you. So you just put in the numbers, right? So if you're like a math phobe or you don't like the complicated formula, then you can just use this calculator and it'll crunch all the numbers for you. But I'm just going to walk you through a real life example. So the idea of finding a lead number is based on the concept of reverse engineering. So have you guys ever seen the movie Paycheck with Ben Affleck? You guys remember that movie? No? So Ben Affleck in the movie, he was a private contractor and his job was a reverse engineer. So a technology company would sit him down and they would show him their competitors' product. It's actually a good movie. It's like, doesn't require much thought, but it's a good action movie. So they would take their competitor's project or product and they would give it to Ben Affleck, and his job would be to deconstruct it and figure out what are the different ingredients that go into making this product, and then he would basically make a clone for them. So that's all we're doing with your real estate goals. So we start with TMI, which is not when your aunt tells you about her bunions. This is target monthly income, right? It's a stolen concept from the book, The 4-Hour Workweek. Anybody ever heard of that book? Anybody ever read it? Mm-hmm. It's a good book, I recommend it. But anyway, so TMI is target monthly income, which is how much money you want to make, right? So guy up front, he don't want to make any money from real estate, but the rest of you guys raised your hands. So everybody has income goals. And this is a real life example. This is something that I walked through with an agent last month. His TMI was pretty impressive. He wanted to make $15,000 a month consistently from real estate, which is an annual net income of $180,000. Maybe your goal is bigger than that. Maybe it's not. Maybe you just want to make $50,000 a year, right? It doesn't matter what it is, but you gotta figure out what the TMI is. And there's another calculator. By the way, if you turn this on its side, it says if you have any questions, you can email me, you can text me, you can call me. Any questions about this training whatsoever, I'd be glad to hook you guys up. I have another calculator that talks about, Ruben just alluded to the concept of, it's not really about the money, it's about what the money can do for you. And so I have another calculator, it's called a Dreamline calculator, where you can like list all the things that you want to do that cost money. And it teaches you how to break them down into a monthly expense, and they all add up to a TMI. All right, so if you were interested in that calculator, feel free to email me, feel free to text me, I'll hook you up with it. But anyway, start with the TMI, and then you just need to put in some basic market statistics. So average sale price. Anybody know what the average sale price in Fayetteville is? 160? Last time I checked it was 152, but that was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's climbing because the market started.
So it should be higher. Anybody know for sure what the average sale price is? Hey, Jorge, you can grab a handout right there up front. So we're just going to say 160, right? But you're going to put in the average sale price here in Fayetteville. Average commission side, is it still holding strong at 3% here in Fayetteville? You can check the MLS, so you can literally just log into the MLS, and I think that they still report what the average commission side is. Maybe it's like 2.98, something like that. I know we've got some discount brokers here in Fayetteville. Anyway, whatever it is, average commission side. And then your company split, the all-important company split. Anybody know what their effective company split is? So if you're with what's that?
I hope so. You got to know that. That affects the income coming in.
Yeah. So I do stress that we talk about your effective company split, right? So there's a lot of franchises out there. Won't name any names. They want you to believe, like on paper, oh, I'm making 80%, or I'm making 85 or 90%, or I'm 100%. It doesn't factor in like desk fees, virtual office fees, whatever fees they're charging nowadays, franchise fees. A lot of times they just leave out the franchise fee. You should know what your effective company split is, and I'm going to tell you, if it's not like bare minimum, if it's not 75%, if it's not, like the truth is, it should be higher than that. If it's not, you should have a conversation with Ruben, or you should set up a conversation with Ruben, because there's opportunities in Fayetteville where you can get tons of support, tons of training, and you get to keep a lot more of your money. And what's funny is if you play with this calculator, so if you go to guerrillarealty.com/lead number and you play with this, you can bring this down to 50, which I know hopefully nobody in this room is on a 50% split, but if you are, see what kind of leads you have to generate, and it's a whole lot more, right? So what you need in order to hit your income goal is going to be a whole lot more if you're on a lower company split, right? And then you can talk to Ruben about what kind of split can I get with you or with one of your teams, or who would you recommend I go with based on my needs, and figure out what your effective company split is, right? So once you filled in that, I recommend that you jump over here and put in your desired vacation expressed in weeks. Now, most realtors that I know aren't accustomed to taking vacation. I know Ruben's up at 4:30 every morning, doesn't drink coffee, probably hasn't had a vacation in 30 years. Am I right?
35.
35 years he hasn't taken a vacation. I think that's stupid, right? No offense. So
You set me up for that.
So there's like anybody follow Gary V? Gary Vaynerchuk?
Chuck.
Gary
Vaynerchuk.
Gary Vaynerchuk.
Oh, just real quick,
Right.
just on Gary V, just real quick, guys,
Yeah.
and I forgot to say it. Take pictures. If you take a picture and you post it with the hashtag Proven by Ruben Leads, Proven by Ruben Leads, then you will be put into a drawing to get a free real estate T-shirt. Cool?
Cool.
Yes, and it's not even short. He bought it off me. I didn't realize it was the only one I had on me. But are we good with that? Yes?
It's a size extra small though, so.
I'll bump it up for you guys. Cool? Yes?
Yes.
Cool. They're trying to live on no coffee like you, Ruben, so nobody's awake yet. I already had my triple espresso this morning though. All right, so vacation in weeks. I think that you should take vacation. You should plan it into your business. If you don't, you're going to hate your life 10 years from now, right? There's something called burnout. And the reason I brought up Gary Vaynerchuk, love him, right? But I hate what I call hustle porn. Hustle porn is the idea that there's no amount of hours that you can work in a week that aren't required to grow your business, right? So what's the answer when you need more leads? Oh, work harder. What's the answer when you need to treat your customer better? Work harder, right? The answer is not always work more hours in the week or more weeks in the year or more months in the year. Plan vacation into your business. It's important, right? Anybody like to travel? Anybody like to take vacations? Yeah, so plan it into your business, right? You can actually factor it into your lead number, and this calculator will do it for you. So if you want to take 4 weeks, put it in there. If you want to take 8 weeks, it doesn't mean you're not a hard worker, right? So my goal is, I don't always do it, but my goal is to take 6 to 8 weeks off every single year where I'm completely unplugged. I maybe check in on Mondays, and that's it. And I did it last year, and the reason I was able to do it is because I actually use this calculator twice a year to recalibrate where I'm at. Last summer, and I don't say this to brag, but last summer, I was able to go to Europe for 40 days because I planned it into my business, right? So if you're willing to say, look, this is how many weeks vacation I want to take, and then factor it into the leads needed for the year, it'll all work out in the end, okay? So the last thing you have to put in is what your preferred buyer-seller breakdown is. So how many sellers do you want to work with versus buyers? Put that in, and it's going to give you some cool numbers. So it's going to give you some targets. So number one is going to tell you how many closings you need for the year. So based on these statistics, you're going to need 35 closings. 17 of them are going to be sellers, 17 of them are going to be buyers, and that brings you down to a total leads needed for the year of 1,171, or per month, 105. Okay, so if you generate 105 leads per month into your pipeline every month for 12 months, the TMI, and again, this isn't your aunt's bunions, okay? This is target monthly income. TMI is going to take care of itself, right? Now, it doesn't mean you don't have to be a realtor, doesn't mean you don't have to have awesome customer service, but by and large, the TMI is going to take care of itself. Now, one quick caveat. A lot of agents see this number, 105, and they think, God, it might as well be 105 million, because I never seen 105 leads in a month. This number is easy to do, and I'm going to show you some strategies to do, but it's actually, now most of you probably won't even have 105. It might be 68, or it might be 74. But if your leads needed is 105, there are relatively easy, most of them are even free, strategies that you can use to get 105 leads per month. And I'm going to show you by the end of this training, you're going to have all the tools and strategies you need in order to generate 105 leads over the next 4 to 6 weeks, if that's what your lead number is, okay? So that's lesson number one.
Can I just ask a question real quick?
Yeah, man.
So why do you guys think it's important that he broke down the number first before actually going to the strategy? You gotta know what your goal is. Without it, we're just kind of shooting at nothing, right? But at least by building out what the number is, it brings clarity, right? We know that clarity gives us more power on what the strategies are going to be in order to hit the number. But that I just want to point out just how important that was to break down the number first before getting straight to the strategy. Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. Do this with my real estate team. I do this with the software company. I know exactly how many demos we need to book every single week in order to hit our sales goal, and it just runs like clockwork. We need 23 demos per week for my number one sales guy for him to hit his sales goals, and we do it every single week. We never miss a beat. And when we hit 23, we lay off. Right? We start working on other things that are important. So generally by Tuesday every single week, we've booked 23 demos for the entire week, and we're all booked solid, and that's it, right? And then we know, okay, I hit the finish line. Now I can go focus on other parts of my business, right? So lesson number 2, this is my favorite lesson. 3 things you can do today for a closing in the next 30 days. Now, most people, when they hear this, they roll their eyes. Usually I don't have to look at them in the face because we're live online, through Zoom, doing a webinar type thing. But I can basically hear them rolling their eyes. And the reason why is, as realtors, we're all taught, we accept the myth that you have no control over when your closings happen, right? In fact, whenever, you're talking with your your colleague at the office or whatever, you're like, okay, when's your next closing? And they're like, well, fingers crossed at the end of the month. And the reason why is that obviously things happen, credit issues, approval issues, and the deal gets slowed down or gets sidelined or whatever, and it ends up closing a month after the original tentative closing date. That's not what we're talking about. I'm talking about filling your pipeline with enough leads that you can guarantee that at least a couple of those deals are going to close in 30 days. So you want to guarantee a closing in the next 30 days, it's just a matter of lead volume. And I'm gonna show you with a quick statistics lesson. Anybody ever take college statistics? Yeah, it's actually a really useful course. It's like the one useful course that I took in college. But I'm gonna give you the quick statistics lesson. So the average lead that enters your pipeline today will close in 105 days, right? It's halfway between 3 and 4 months, right? And that's going to represent about 68%, or the fat part of the bell curve. It's going to represent 68% of the population, or 68% of the leads that enter your pipeline today are going to close in about 105 days, or somewhere between 90 and 120 days, all right? That's just statistics. But what's cool is that that's not all statistics teaches us. It also teaches us that 2%, this little sliver over here, are going to close in 6 months or longer. Anybody ever have a client that closed in 6 months or longer? No? You're lucky. These are the customers you want to avoid. You end up doing triple the work, get paid the same. It sucks. Okay? So these are the customers you want to avoid. But 2% of everybody that enters your pipeline are going to close 6 months or longer. I don't know if that means you guys aren't doing your follow-up, or you just never had one of those bad deals yet. Okay? But they exist. By the same token, that means that 2%, or this sliver on the left, are also going to close in 30 days or quicker, right? And who knows why? Maybe it's that they just moved and they're on a tight time frame, right? They got a month to be in a new house for a new job. Maybe they procrastinated, so they didn't bother talking to a realtor or looking online until it was too late. But whatever the case is, 2% of deals that enter your pipeline are going to close in 30 days, or at least have an accepted offer, I should say. Are gonna be in escrow in 30 days. Okay? So what that means is if you were to generate 100 leads, and remember our goal for the purpose of this training is 105 leads. What that means is that 2 of them are gonna close in 30 days or less, or they're gonna at least be in escrow, have an accepted contract 30 days or less, right? So you wanna get 2 deals that close in the next 30 days, or at least are in escrow in the next 30 days, go out and get 100 leads or 105 leads, right? Guarantee that 2 of them, just statistically, are going to be this little sliver on the left that are deals that are going to close quick, okay? So when I say 3 things you can do today for a closing in the next 30 days, I mean it. It's just about lead volume. If you were to capture 3 leads this month, right, what are the odds that one of them would close in the next 30 days? Pretty low, right? If you were to capture 100 leads, right, 2 of them, statistically, are going to close then, all right? So thing number 1 that you can do today is borrow 5 listings. Does anybody know what it means to borrow a listing?
Somebody has listings, you ask them if you can advertise for them.
Absolutely. You nailed it on the head. So, hey, how are you? Hey, if you want to grab a handout, they're up front. So borrowing a listing is facing the age-old problem of like the chicken or the egg. So we all know that listings generate leads, but if you don't have leads, you can't get listings. And so what do, right? So the easiest way to generate leads, if you're a new agent, you don't have any listings, or you just sold through your inventory, the easiest way to generate leads is to go borrow somebody else's listings, right? So I'm going to give you a couple of strategies. Like the easiest thing to do is go to your broker. Your broker probably has, anywhere from 10 to 100 listings under their name or under the brokerage name, and they'll give you permission right away. Never, ever been turned down, okay? If you're feeling a little gutsier, I ask other agents, competing agents, right, from other brokerages all the time to borrow their listings, okay? And what's cool about that is instead of just getting whatever your broker happens to have at the time, just getting stuck with it, you get to go out and cherry pick the best listings for lead generation purposes. And I'm going to give you a couple of criteria you can use, right? If push comes to shove and you have no access to any listings, you're too afraid to ask another agent. And by the way, I actually share a script here on, if you're looking at the handout, under thing number 1 that you can do today, I rolled this up like an idiot. On page number 2, under thing number 1, there's actually a really easy script that I use at the bottom. Right? So, hey Joe, saw your listing at 323 Whitney. I'd love to help you get it sold. Could I include it in my advertising this month? So I like to make a quick phone call, ask them to borrow a listing, and then if they're cool with it and they say yes, I follow up with a text message. And the reason why I follow up with a text message is in most states, and I believe this is true of North Carolina, although it'd have to get updated on the rules and regulation, is you need written permission to promote somebody else's listings. Okay? So just to cover your butt, I recommend sending a text message that just reiterates what we just talked about and just get them to say yes. Then you're good to go. You can take a screenshot, you can save it on your computer, whatever you want to do, okay? But borrow the listing. If you're not gutsy enough to ask other agents, or your broker doesn't have any listings, or maybe you're on your own, if you're HUD certified, you can go to HUD.gov and grab any listing you want from HUD.gov and go promote it on any platform that you want, right? Blanket permission. So, what are the criteria you can use and how do they work to generate leads? So the truth is any listing could generate leads, but you want to focus on a couple of criteria. Number 1 is you want to focus on the sale price. I like to focus on sale price plus 20%. So we talked about here in Fayetteville, average sale price is $160,000. So you're not supposed to do math in public. You make a fool of yourself, but 20% above 160 is I think 192, right? So 192, I would say my sweet spot would probably be 180 to 200 would be the sweet spot for finding great listings that are going to generate leads. And the reason why is I want you to close your eyes, think back to the bell curve, right? That statistics lesson I just gave you. Most leads are going to be around the average price point, right? So if you want to capture a lot of leads, you got to be around average. But I like to be 20% above because we work on commission. So it's like giving yourself a 20% raise, right? So you attract leads for higher priced properties, you're going to get paid more. This dude in the front who doesn't want to make money from real estate, he probably doesn't care. But if you care about getting paid, that's one reason. Another reason is that 20% statistically represents about 1 standard deviation from the mean, and I won't get into what that means. You can look it up. But what that means is that most of the credit issues and like the headaches that you deal with when you're dealing with low-end real estate deals, not that I'm opposed to them, made tons of money on low-end real estate deals. There's nothing wrong with it. But you'll find that you enjoy real estate a lot more when you're just 20% above the average price point, okay? So I would say in Fayetteville, the sweet spot is going to be 180 to 200K. So you can literally pull up your computer, go to Zillow.com, type in the price range, 180 to 200K, and then you start scanning for this second criteria, which is A+ curb appeal. So newsflash, if you're trying to generate leads, beautiful houses are going to generate a lot more leads than ugly houses. And I say that with one caveat. The truth is, what I'm trying to get at is desirability. It's not really whether the house looks beautiful, it's really whether it's in a desirable neighborhood, it's listed at a desirable price, or it just looks desirable, right? So you're really trying to get at, like I put curb appeal. Curb appeal, the truth is, that does not encompass everything that you're looking for. You're just looking for something that's, so I had a listing one time that generated me probably 5 to 10 leads per week, like clockwork, for 6 months, because average DOM in Fayetteville is obviously pretty high. But for 6 months straight, it generated me 5 to 10 leads a week like clockwork. It was like Old Faithful, and it was ugly as hell. Am I allowed to say hell?
Nope.
No?
Not yet.
Okay. It was really ugly, really ugly. But it was in one of the best neighborhoods in town, so it was always getting clicked on, right? So when I say curb appeal, that doesn't really do it justice. What we're talking about is desirability. Okay? Everybody get that? That makes sense? All right. So borrow 5 listings. You could do that today. Then, and this is just one strategy, but this is probably, my company, we teach 8 to 10 different marketing playbooks, different like guerrilla methods that you can use to go out and generate leads on a consistent basis. And I would say after testing like 100 different lead gen methods for 2 years straight, that Craigslist still comes out on top. Okay. Now I know a lot of people when they hear Craigslist, they think, I knew somebody that did Craigslist, or I tried Craigslist once myself, and all I got was a bunch of spam, and I got like the Nigerian prince who's trying to send me money, and just a bunch of crap. Okay. But here's what we know about Craigslist, and you can actually fact check me on this. Feel free to Google it. But here's what we know about them. Home buyers that are on Craigslist, a higher percentage of them are college educated, so they have more education. They also have higher credit scores by about 40% or about 40 points. Okay? And lastly, and most importantly, they earn about 20K per year more than the background rate or the general population, which you would find on like a Zillow lead, for example. Okay? And again, I want you to look this up. I want you to look at the demographic charts. Compare Zillow versus Craigslist, you'll find this to be true. So if Craigslist leads are dream customers by every standard, then why the heck did I hear about that one agent who said he tried and all he got was like the Nigerian prince calling him up, right? And the reason why is most agents don't know how to write a great ad, and even if they did, they don't have any lead capture devices on the other end, okay? So let me real quick, because I want to completely dispel this myth that that Craigslist leads are crap, or that you prefer a Zillow lead. I want to compare a couple of lead sources. So the 3 most popular lead sources right now, or probably 3 top lead sources, are Facebook, Zillow, and Craigslist. I just want to compare them. So Facebook, the great thing about Facebook, and I love Facebook for leads, is that it's cheap. I'm talking about paid Facebook ads, right? So if you're in this room, you're a smart agent, you know how to run Facebook ads, you could probably generate leads for about $4 a piece, right? That's really cheap, okay? If you're not smart on Facebook ads, you're probably still smart enough to hire somebody. You can generate leads for $4 a piece, right? The problem that we found, and we're obsessive at Guerrilla Realty, we're obsessive about lead gen methods, so we've tested everything. The problem is that they have a relatively low closing ratio, 1 in 42, right? Now, 42 times 4, again, you're not supposed to do math in public, but it's like 170, 180, what's that?
168.
168, okay? $168 to acquire 1 customer, not bad when you're making, $3,000 commission, okay? The problem is, does anybody know how much time goes into following up with 41 dead-end leads? It'd be like 6 weeks to find 1 deal. Anybody's goal is to do 1 deal every 6 weeks? If it is, like, the truth is there's probably somebody in this room, they don't want to raise their hand now. It might be this guy up front that doesn't care about money. But the truth is that's fine. But the problem is you're going to work 80 hours a week doing follow-up. Ruben's a follow-up hero. But you're going to do all the follow-up. You have to go through the 41 dead-end leads to find the 1 good one. And the reason why is there's really no buyer intent on Facebook. So the reason why we all log on to Facebook is to check up on our high school friends, make sure they're not as cute or successful as us, or picture the grandkids, picture your friends' kids, but we're not on there trying to find a home, generally speaking, okay? And so because there's no buyer intent, yeah, maybe we get seduced by some really sexy real estate ad, and we want to know what our home is worth, but we're not really good solid leads. In fact, only 1 in 42 of us is a real solid lead that might lead to a closing, okay? So that's the problem with Facebook, and one of the reasons why my company doesn't invest in Facebook ads anymore, right? There's a couple of strategies that are great and work out there, so if you're doing them and they're working for you, awesome, but in general, I don't recommend it for agents. So let's compare that with the big bad Z, all right? So right out of the gate, the problem with Zillow is that it's expensive, right? It's going to cost anywhere from like $500 to $1,000 a month for 1 zip code. You might get like 12 leads. the good thing is when you do get leads from Zillow, they have a very high closing ratio. So it's typically 1 in 20, right? We've actually tested this. We've spent money on Zillow. We've tested it. Our closing ratio was like 1 in 20.7 or something like that. And the reason why you have this high closing ratio is that there's buyer intent. So we all have a friend that gets on Zillow just for fun, but most people on Zillow are there because they're interested in buying or selling real estate, right? And so you're gonna have a higher closing ratio, right? Let's compare that to Craigslist, right? So first of all, it's cheap, like Facebook. In fact, it's free. There's a couple of markets that maybe charge you like 15 bucks per ad. Fayetteville doesn't. It's totally free, right? You're also going to enjoy the very high closing ratio. It's actually a bit higher than Zillow. We've tested this extensively for 2 years now, and I would say it's 1 in 19.7. I think the last time we checked, but it basically rounds out to pretty close to Zillow. It's not statistically significant. And the reason why is there's buyer intent. When you get on Craigslist and you go to the real estate listings, hey, how are you? There's a handout up front if you want to grab it, right here. Yeah. So, and the reason why is there's buyer intent. Clear buyer intent. If you go to the real estate listings on Craigslist, it's because you're interested in buying or selling real estate. Okay? So now that we've dispelled the myth that you can't generate great leads on Craigslist, and in fact, not only does Craigslist have the highest closing ratio, but it has the best quality leads, because remember, they're more college educated, they have a higher credit score, and they earn 20K per year more. Now we're going to talk about writing the ad. So how do you write a great ad that you can post on Craigslist for lead gen purposes? Okay? I put together a downloadable resource. You can find it at guerrillarealty.com/ad examples. The S is very important. A lot of people email me later and complain, oh, I couldn't find it. It's because they didn't use the S. So guerrillarealty.com/ad examples. This is like a PDF download of real ads that I've copied and pasted into this document that either my team have run or agents that use our system across the country have run to generate literally thousands of leads. So these are ads that were run and worked very successfully, and so you can kind of use them as a blueprint. You can use them as a guide while you're writing your ad. But I'm going to give you the basics of how to write a great ad. Right? So 3 most important things when you're writing an ad is do not list the price. Kind of counterintuitive, but we'll talk about it in a second. Limit your photos to 2 or 3 only, probably exterior photos. And then stick to just 5 selling features. I like to list them as a bullet list. A lot of people think to write a great ad is going to really get somebody interested in a property, you have to be Charles Dickens. Anybody ever been on Craigslist or anywhere else or seen the MLS comments and it's like 5,000 words, right? Starts with once upon a time. You don't have to do that to sell a house. You don't have to do that to generate a lot of leads from Craigslist either, okay? So don't list the price. Why? It's the first thing that people want to know. It's what they're curious about, and we want to harness that curiosity and drive it to some kind of action at the end of the ad. Okay, so don't list the price, or in Craigslist you have to list the price. Just put the price as $1, right? $1. $1, Bob. So then we're going to limit photos to 2 or 3, probably exterior photos, right? So most agents, they want to take 4,700 photos of every angle of every corner of the home because they feel like they're doing their seller a service, and to this they probably are, and then they want to actually put that in the ad. It's not necessary. In fact, we want to take that curiosity, we want to harness it and turn it into action at the end of the ad. So I like 2 to 3 exterior photos that really make the house look awesome, okay? And then we'll use the rest of the photos as bait to get them to come to us and generate a lead, okay? So I like exterior photos because what most people want to know, or at least women, what pictures do they want to see? They want to see the kitchen, and they want to see the master bathroom, right? So whatever you do, don't put those in the ad because they will text you or they will call you to get those photos. And then just stick to 5 selling features. So like, what are your 5 favorite features about the house that would make you want to buy it? List them in a bullet list, and then at the bottom of the ad, put a call to action to get more information with some kind of lead device. And we're going to talk about what that is here in just a second. Okay? Everyone pretty well understand the basics of writing a good Craigslist ad?
Who is surprised at not adding the kitchen or the kitchen and
the kitchen and the master bath.
Yeah, but like, who's surprised to hear that to not add that into the list? Me too, because when I used to run it on Facebook, those were like the main things I would add, but interesting.
Yeah, because it's what you like. You know that they already want to see it, right? So you want to take what it is that they want and you want to harness it to drive them to some kind of action at the end of the ad. And the action is how you're going to generate a lead. Get a phone number of somebody you know wants to buy, on average in about 105 days. And if you can fill your pipeline with those people every single day, you're going to make a lot of money in real estate, okay? So what are the 3 lead capture devices that you can use to maximize your leads on Craigslist? So it's really simple. Basically, you have a lead website, a text autoresponder, and some kind of call capture system, all right? So another reason that a lot of people don't generate leads on Craigslist, or at least quality leads, is because they just follow the regular Craigslist thing of like, they enter their email, and if somebody's interested in this listing, they can email me. Has anybody ever got an email lead that never went anywhere, right? Somebody clearly was gonna buy in the next 90 days, and they emailed you, and you got all excited, and you emailed them back, and you said, hey, here's my phone number, you know, when can you set up an appointment, let's get together, and you followed up, or you put them into some kind of drip system, and you never heard from them ever again, right? Once they got the information that they wanted from you, they just ghosted you. And the reason why is that it's really easy. Like, email is great because it's low pressure, but that's also why it sucks, right? You have no control over getting a hold of somebody. And it's not very personal either. So it's hard to create a great connection from the beginning. So I don't consider it a lead if I don't have a phone number, right? So that's the number one thing that I want to capture. I also would like to get the name and email address if I can, just to make it easier to follow up. But the phone number is all important. So first you want some kind of lead website. So most real estate agents in 2019 do have a website. Unfortunately, most of them aren't designed for lead capture. So if you don't have a website that has, you know, like when somebody checks on a listing, like fill out your name, email, phone number, I recommend you get one, okay? And there are free ones out there, but there's others that are pretty cheap. I'll even show you the one that I use here at the end. But next you need a text autoresponder. So this is like, you guys are driven by signs that say text this unique code to this phone number, and it'll automatically text you back some kind of pictures or whatever. I use that. I actually like to do videos. So I'll go out to the property, take a 5-minute video. We have a free tool made by Guerrilla Realty. It's called Listing Cake. So you can go to listingcake.com. It's actually made so you can use it on your phone. So you can actually go out to a listing, snap a couple of photos, take a couple of video clips where you even do a voiceover, say, hey, I love the bathroom, I love the kitchen, right? And then you upload all those clips on Listing Cake, choose a layout, so it'll be like, it'll have all your information in like a really polished looking layout, choose some background music, and then hit download. It'll publish a video, download it on your phone, and you can use it as bait. You can upload it to Facebook. You can use it as bait on your text autoresponder so somebody can get a complete video tour. Works really well as a call to action. And then finally, you're gonna want some kind of call capture system, right? So most agents are like, hey, interested in this property, call me, right? And do people ever call you? Usually no. And the reason why is that when they're searching online, I don't want to get deep into the weeds on this, but when people are searching online, they're in what we call the information gathering stage. Most of them aren't ready to work with a realtor yet. And so that's a little bit too much pressure to just call somebody up. So if it's a local number and it's like, hey, call me, and you know that you're going to get an agent on the other end, and I don't know if you guys are ready for this, but realtor is not the most popular profession in America. It's not, right? And I don't know why, but it's not. People are afraid of realtors. You guys have experienced this, right? You guys know this. You're familiar with this fact. There's no reason, I don't think, to be afraid of anybody in this room except for this guy up front that doesn't want to make money. So who knows why he's in real estate, y'all? I don't even want to go there. But call capture. I recommend some kind of 800 number where they can call up. So ProQuest Technologies does this for pretty cheap. I'll show you another option here at the end. But call capture is like an 800 number where someone can call in for recorded information. Now, this is not where you're going to capture a high volume of leads. The truth is, 2019, the world is going to text message, right? But the people who do use the call capture system are generally older clientele. So they've actually got money in the bank. You know, imagine that, wanting to buy real estate and you've got money in the bank. And so the leads that you do capture are going to be higher quality. We've tested this for years. We have 2 times closing ratio with people who we get through a call capture system. So it's only 10% of our total monthly leads. So maybe like 8 to 10 leads per month. But the people that we do, they close at 2 times the rate of our average lead. Make sense? Everybody cool with that? Now, if you have all three of these systems, you're going to capture double the leads as you would if you only had one of them. So I'm going to show you a really cheap, easy, like poor man's way to get started on this strategy today that costs you absolutely zilch. But then I'm going to show you if you were willing to, if you wanted to, if this is something you've been thinking about for a while and you wanted to spend some money, I'm going to give you an opportunity, okay? But anyway, so all of this is going to double your leads over if you just have one. But the problem is you're still only going to be at 20% of your potential. And the reason why is you haven't taken lesson 3 yet, which is how to build an evergreen lead machine that runs on autopilot all the time. So evergreen meaning it just works year round. And instead of just generating 105 leads one time, you're going to do it month in and month out for an entire year. And that's how you're going to hit your TMI, or your target monthly income for the year, okay? So here's what a evergreen lead machine would look like. So it starts with having some kind of traffic system. I showed you one marketing playbook. It would be borrowing listings, putting them up on Craigslist with a great ad, and then sending them to your lead capture devices. But basically you have some kind of traffic system where you're identifying leads on a consistent basis. And remember, lead means a phone number. If you don't have a phone number, it ain't really a lead, right? Once you have identified those leads and you put them, either into some kind of CRM, or maybe you're just, recording them in a spreadsheet or whatever, you want to plug them into some kind of follow-up system. So this means phone calls and text messages, right? Email can be a supplement, but it can't be the only way that you're following up with leads. It's just not going to work for you, okay? And again, Ruben's a follow-up genius. He'll tell you, you got to do more than just follow up by email, okay? And doing this consistently, so 105 leads per month going into your system, plugging into a follow-up system of texts and calls until 105 days later when the typical lead goes in escrow, is what's going to yield consistent commission checks, okay? So that's what an evergreen lead machine would look like. Now, how do you build it? So I'm going to give you, again, at the very end, I'm going to give you the poor man's version of if you just want to get started on this today and you don't want to invest any money, then I'm going to give you the ultimate easy hack to start this strategy right away. But I also want 5-10 minutes to show you my company's system, right? So our flagship product at Guerrilla Realty is called Pipeline Pro Tools. And Pro Tools basically was designed to work around all of our different marketing playbooks. We have one for Craigslist, we have one for Facebook Marketplace, we have one for Zillow. That's a cool one. If you guys ever want to email me about how to get free leads from Zillow, it's pretty dope. You can email me at chris@guerrillarealty.com, okay? You have all these marketing playbooks, but ultimately you have to have some kind of lead capture systems in place so that you can capture these leads on a consistent basis. And like I said, it's all about numbers. If you have a website that captures it 1% because it's not really designed to capture leads, but every once in a while somebody happens over to the contact page and they email you or whatever, yeah, it'll generate leads, but it's not going to get you to 105 leads per month. It's just not, right? So you need some ultra low pressure lead capture devices to help you capture leads on a regular basis. So Pro Tools includes an automatic ad creator. This is hands down my absolute favorite tool. It's probably the least important, but it's the one that saved my life the most. This takes all the guesswork out of writing ads. So we have a system where we actually have an upgrade that's rolling out next month. It's going to allow you to just drop a Zillow link on the listing that you're promoting. It'll write the entire ad for you. All you have to do is tweak the title, choose some photos, and press copy. And then you can go paste it into Facebook Marketplace. You can paste it into Craigslist. You can paste it wherever you want, even Zillow. Okay? So automatic ad creator allows you to do what, if you're writing it on your own, might take 45 minutes to an hour, just kind of plunking it out. It'll do it in 30 seconds and just write the ad for you based on all the things that we know about how to write a great ad. All right? So then it has a lead website. And the lead website is designed from the ground up just to capture leads. That's its only point. That's the only purpose for existence. So we actually have agents all over the country that have their website that they share with their clients, so people that they're already working with for whatever reason, whether it's that they upload contracts there or they have people sign agency agreements or whatever. And then they have their lead website, which is it's like the public facing, hey, if you want more information about this website or this listing rather, then click here or go to this link and it's going to capture name, phone number, and email address. Then it has a text capture system or text autoresponder, like I talked about before. It also has a phone capture system. So again, you can create unique codes. People enter the codes and it plays some kind of recorded information. And then also allows them to press 1 and say, send me more, send me photos, text me photos, or text me a link to the single property website so I can get more details about this property. Okay? And then it also has a robocaller. So this has multi-facets to it. So it's got a power dialer built in. So Ruben knows real estate's a follow-up game. A lot of times you're going to sit down and you're going to have 27 phone calls to make, right? So that might take you 2 to 3 hours. If you have a power dialer, it might take 15 to 20 minutes, right? So to just take your fingers out of the equation, you don't have to dial any numbers, just press go, and it'll call through all the leads that you're supposed to call through every morning. And then it also has things like voicemail drops, single property websites. It's got a voice broadcast system, so you can actually record a message. So if you're advertising an open house, for example, or that's one of our playbooks, or let's say there's a listing coming online, you know about it, but it's not in the MLS yet. You could do a listing alert to your entire list and get them to book showings before it's even available, right? So that's Pro Tools. Now, I talked to Ruben about this last month, told him what we were going to be doing, and he said, look, do something special. These people are important to me. Be More training is something that is like increasingly important to him. And so if anybody's interested in this, right, there's no pressure whatsoever, but if anybody's interested in this, I wanted a couple of bonuses that like made it a no-brainer to do today, right? So if this is something you've been thinking about for a while, how to capture more leads, I need a website, I need some kind of text autoresponder system. The truth is I don't have any technology in my business, and I've been looking at it, but I don't know what to do. Here's a couple of bonuses that we're gonna do. So number one, if you sign up for the yearly plan, it's really inexpensive. You can go to pipelineprotools.com and check it out. Or you can talk to me after or whatever. But we'll do $100 off the yearly plan, which is already really discounted. Just something special that I'm doing for Ruben after that special night that we shared 2 months ago when we first hooked up. And then number two, which is something I'm even more excited about, is we'll do 6 months enrollment into our free, it's not free. We'll do 6 months free enrollment into the Elite Group Coaching. So this is our baby. It's not something that we advertise publicly. Generally, when someone joins Pro Tools, once they've been with us for 6 months and they've generated an average, and we can track this. So once they've generated an average of 50 leads per month for 6 consecutive months, we'll pull them aside and we'll say, hey, I think you'd be a good candidate for Elite. What Elite is it's $1,000 a month. It'll be 6 months free for you guys, but it's $1,000 a month. And what it is all the marketing playbooks. It's a personal coach. We do weekly check-ins, and we give you the exact formulas and the exact playbooks of like wherever you're at today to whatever your goal is. So for most agents, they're starting at like maybe they're netting like 30, 40,000, and they want to get to 6 figures, right? We have a plan where we walk somebody through how to do that in 12 months. Okay, if you're already at 6 figures, we have a plan to get you to 250K. And then after that, we have another plan that gets you to leverage, build a team, plan an exit strategy, okay? But that's what Elite Group Coaching is. The only drawback is that after 6 months, you have to decide, do I want to continue paying, do I just want to pay $1,000 a month? A lot of people do because they love it so much. Or I feel confident I can continue these strategies and go out on my own, okay? But if you're to sign up today, or actually tomorrow is when the code expires, if you're to sign up today or tomorrow, then you get the 6 months free Elite Group Coaching. Cool? And the code is Be More. I'm just going to skip this slide. If anybody has any questions about it, I think it's even on the handout, then you guys can ask me after. Okay? The last thing I want to talk about Pro Tools before I get back into your homework for today is if you're not sure yet, or you just like you're a visual person, or you want to talk to somebody that's actually used Pro Tools, so not just this jerk up here that that's biased or that started the company, then we have everyone who does our demos is actual real estate agent, or at minimum somebody who's been through real estate school and is a member of our lead generation team. So there's somebody that uses this system every single day, knows all the ins and outs, and can give you like a quick 15 to 20 minute demo. And so if you were to go to pipelineprotools.com/demo, I actually opened a couple of slots specifically for you guys because I told you at the beginning, 23 slots a week. We get those booked and we're done. But I knew we were doing this training today. And so I opened a couple of slots for, I think today is unfortunately booked. You guys can check. But tomorrow is still open. So if you guys just say, hey, I want to see it, or that's actually intriguing, just go to pipelineprotools.com/demo. I think there's a link on your handout as well. But you can go there has a whole booking thing you can walk through, and that'll be somebody, it'll either be with me, although probably not, or it'll be with somebody that actually uses the system in their business every day. Okay, so enough of that crap. Back to the homework. So here's what you could do today to guarantee yourself a closing in the next 30 to 60 days. All right? So step number 1, borrow 5 to 10 listings. Why did I suddenly change it from 5 to 10? Right? I just know that there's some overachievers in this room. There's people that are going to say, hey, if 5 listings is good, 10 listings is better. And guess what? You're right. So the more listings you have promoted, the better off you'll be. Right? The only thing is Craigslist might think you're a spammer if you post 10 ads like in an hour. So spread it out. Maybe 5 leads or 5 ads today, 5 ads tomorrow, 5 ads the next day, whatever. But the more ads you post, the more leads you're going to generate, right? And the more leads you generate, the more you're going to be able to cherry pick just the best leads, right? So number 2 is going to be create an ad. Number 3 is going to be posted to Craigslist or, like I said, Facebook Marketplace or Zillow. And then number 4 is going to be send that traffic to a lead capture device. So harness that curiosity, what somebody wants to know about a property, and then create some kind of lead capture device. I told you a few minutes ago, I was going to give you like the ultimate like poor man's hack on how to capture leads, even if you have no money to invest. And that is to build your own text autoresponder, right? So if you have a phone, everyone have a smartphone in this room. Does anybody not have a smartphone? How about that? Right, so everyone has a smartphone. If you have a smartphone and it accepts text messages, so you're 2019, you're a realtor, I hope it does, then you can advertise in the ad. You can say, text this code, and the code could be whatever you want. It could be text Be More to 910-670-7733, which is my phone number, okay? And when you get that text message, you know you have to spring into action, and you could save some information about that listing in a note, and you could text it back to them. You could send them a link that has all that information online on your website or whatever, and you could be your own text autoresponder, okay? But guess what? When that person texts you and they want more information about a property, you now have a lead in your phone. You could manually put it over into your CRM, right? So you don't have a system that's going to do it automatically for you, like Pro Tools, but you could capture leads with the poor man's text autoresponder, okay? Now, they might have to wait if it's 3 a.m. and they text you. Or might have to wait till you get up in the morning. For Ruben, they'd have to wait a whole hour and a half. But that's the easiest lead capture device in the world. Now, you're going to capture a lot more leads if you have the 3 different types, okay? But this is how you could get started the minute that we're done, okay? And then once you do that, you want to rinse and repeat until you hit your lead number that month, right? So that could be that you only need 5 listings. Generally speaking, if I had my target would be if my lead number was 105, I would want to start with probably 9 to 10 listings. And that's going to get me 105 generally, okay? Sometimes I have a total dud that generates me no leads. I want to cut it loose and I want to add another one, okay? But as long as you know what you're doing and you follow the steps in this training, typically if your lead number is 105, 10 listings will get you there, okay? So figure about 10 or 11 leads per listing per month as long as you're refreshing it every 48 hours as Craigslist allows. Make sense? All right, so now I'm just going to go to the timeline breakdown, and I'm going to show you why you have absolutely zero excuse not to do this today. So I told Ruben when we booked this training that our goal whenever we do a training, whether it's online webinar or it's a live in-person training, our goal is that at least half the class has a result within 24 hours, right? So unfortunately, not everyone in this room, right? So look at your neighbor. Not everyone in this room is going to go out and do this today. They're either going to get busy or they're not going to be really sure that it's going to work. Doubt's going to creep in or whatever. They're not going to do it for whatever reason. Don't be that person. Be the 50% that does get a result in the next 24 hours, okay? So time breakdown. Why you have no excuse not to do this. Borrow 5 listings. Takes 30 minutes, right? So get on Zillow, 180 to 200K, call up the agents, be gutsy, ask them to borrow the listing, and then send them a text message, get that written permission. Write the ads. Now, this is a little bit shorter if you have the automatic ad creator with Pro Tools. Maybe this would be like an hour, 2 hours if you don't, right? Just follow our basic steps. You can go to GorillaRealty.com/ad examples and follow the steps. Posting the ads takes 5 minutes. You're literally just copying and pasting. And then you've got some leads in your pipeline, okay? 45 minutes total. There's no reason not to do this today, right? It's only, what time is it? It's 10:30, right? You should have plenty of time to get this done today, and I guarantee that you get a result. If you don't get a lead off of your first ad, it doesn't mean the strategy doesn't work. It means you haven't posted enough ads. So do the 5, right? Do the 5, stick with it for a week. I guarantee you'll have some quality leads in your inbox. All right? Now, I always like to share some case studies. So this is somebody that uses Pro Tools. He's in Florida, I think. It's a guy named Alan. And I love this email because he basically said, hey, I started using Pro Tools in March. After a few days of trial and error, I started sending leads. I received a lead on March 20, and today, May 10th, we closed, only 51 days later. And that means actually like commission check in hand, okay? Not bad. This is somebody that's closed literally hundreds of deals with Pro Tools since he's been with us, okay? Matt Mouser, this is my homeboy. This is a guy in Michigan. So it's actually, he's in a market similar to ours. A lot of people assume, these people are killing it because they're in California or they're in Florida or they're in a market that's a lot better than ours. This guy's in a super depressed area in Michigan where people are like fleeing, right, in terror. Their water is poisonous. All their jobs are drying up, okay? And this guy's still crushing it, making 6 figures. I'm not going to read this whole thing because it's really long, but basically the story is he went on vacation to Mexico. Remember we talked about vacation at the beginning? Realtors are supposed to take vacation, Ruben?
Yes.
So he went on vacation to Mexico, wasn't generating leads, but when he got back, he turned it back on like a spigot, right? So turn it on like a faucet, and it got 4 leads the first day from his first ad. The 4th lead that he called was $1 million buyer. Is there anybody in the room that would turn down $1 million buyer besides this guy in the front? No? All right. And then loads more, like these are all guys that are crushing it on Facebook Marketplace and other places and Craigslist and everything. I'm just going to skip through them. And let's do some Q&A. So I set aside, I think we've got like 30 minutes, 15 minutes. What time are we supposed to end here?
10:30, which is 10:30. So,
my bad.
No,
My bad.
so just,
Do you want to do Q&A or not?
Well, I was just going to say real quick, if you guys could just throw out just a few things, y'all do it every time, something that you heard here today that you didn't know before, right? Or something that you learned and that you're going to execute. What is something that you learned here today? Craigslist.
Not putting prices on there.
Wow, there's a timeline coming up here. So Craigslist sounds like a big one. We just heard in the front row that they didn't even know it was still around. So why use it? So you guys got some strategies on exactly how to use Craigslist, right? Which is pretty cool. And the other piece was, don't put the price on it. Don't put the price on it.
Same on Facebook Marketplace, though. Don't put the price.
$1.
$1, Bob.
What else? Before we let you guys go. Yes?
I have a question about the website.
Yeah.
You build that website, what are you factoring in, like SEO, or is the client putting all that in themselves?
Yeah, so we generate all of our traffic organically, but very little of it comes from SEO. SEO is one of those wildly unpredictable things that, like, you can work really hard for 6 months, get to the top of the rankings, and then, like, overnight Google rolls out some kind of update, and you're screwed. You're back to square one. I'm not saying don't invest in SEO, but for me, it's way more predictable to just get your traffic from Facebook or get your traffic from Craigslist or get your traffic from somewhere else. Yeah.
So with the website though, is it a lead capture system, or are you giving them content for that website?
So generally what I use to attract people to the website is more information about a property that they're looking at on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or one of those platforms.
So you're saying it's more or less single page websites?
Yep, so single property websites or just like featured listings, or like sometimes I don't even use the website as bait. I use I'll text you a video or whatever. But
So, like, if they buy that website, are you building it for the entire agent, or are you just focusing on the single page?
oh, gotcha. Yeah, so you get a complete website. It's got all the regular things, and again, if you get a demo, you actually get to see it in action. But it's got all the regular things. It's got like a mortgage page. It's got all the stuff you expect on a real estate website. But when somebody goes to access more information about the number one thing that they're there for, they're going to have to put in their name, phone number, and email address to get that. So you're going to capture, typically we have like a 27-28% capture rate with that website. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And then, of course, if you guys have questions, there's a demo, right? If you got more questions, there's a demo.
Yeah, or feel free to even like email me or call me up. I'm happy to help.
Awesome. So one more. Something you took out of here today that you're going to execute on once you leave here. Or something you may have heard that you've not heard before. We got someone who's going to be redoing all their listings. What else?
Are you putting just as much time in the Craigslist ad as you put in?
That is definitely a question.
So like,
So
just yes or like, Are you doing it just as much with Craigslist ads, considering it's free, as your Facebook Marketplace ad?
Facebook Marketplace is also free. So you're thinking of Facebook paid ads, but Facebook, they're both free. Craigslist generates better leads, just statistically. And I can't go into all the statistics, but
Yeah, and you guys can definitely discuss that afterwards.
Yeah.
We do about 20 minutes if you want to go ahead and network and meet agents. I can't even tell you how many firms are in here today. Just showing the fact that we can care less. Guys got his own coaching company. I got my own coaching company. We don't even give a crap, right? As long as it's here to deliver value to you guys, and you guys make more money, get more listings, and increase your business, we're some happy people up here. So make sure if you took a picture, make sure you post it. Hashtag Ruben by Ruben leads to win a t-shirt. And as we always do, go ahead and come up here and we're gonna take a big old selfie. Cool? Yes? You're gonna come up here too, my friend. We'll be right